Okay, recording started. All right. So I would love to share my screen right now. I should be using a Jamboard. Wow, what is happening? I can't share my screen. Oh my god, what's going on? What's going on right now? Okay. All right. So can someone please confirm if my screen is being shared right now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I should be using a Jamboard for this PLD. So I'll quickly explain some concepts. Okay. But even before I actually use this Jamboard, I think I should open my Visual Studio Code and show us what, because we are discussing about variadic functions, and first and foremost we have to understand what a function is. So is there anyone who is here who doesn't know what a function is or what we use a function for? You can just use the raise hand button if you do not know what a function is or what a function is used for. Quickly. So let me just create a file called let me say functions.c. Okay, so I want to believe someone is raising up the hand, right? Do we have anyone? Okay, all of us here knows what a function is and what it is used for. All right, no problem. So I'll be writing a function that adds two numbers. So since we already know what functions are, so let's go straight in. So with this, we understand what variadic functions are. You know, the word function is inside it, so we have to know what a function is actually. So for the sake of this class and for the sake of being fast, I will be using my Visual Studio Code, which will alert me functions.c. Okay, I'm not in the right. I should cd into PLD, which will alert me when I make mistakes and we get errors quickly. All right. So we start our main program. Let's say it's going to return an int, so that's why. So let's declare an integer, which is hey, or yes, let it have an int a and an int b. What should be the name of our function? The prototype of our function, we should actually declare it out here. Please let me just come down here. Let's call the function sum. So it is going to take two arguments, a and b. So let me just copy this. It's going to take int as a function declaration. So let me put this up there. As a global declaration of our function, so I have to terminate that. So now this is my main program. This is actually not needed. I just want us to call the function and we store what it is returning in one variable. So let us define the function down here. Of course, while I want to define, I don't need to put a semicolon here, but when I'm just writing the function what do you call it now? Declaration. This is a function declaration, while this is a function definition. From lines 12 to 14, anything I put here is a definition, but only line 11 is a definition. It's a declaration, and line 3 is also a declaration. So this is where I'm actually defining my function. So here I can now say int a, int b. I don't need to put a and b on line 3, and if I want to put it there, no problem, but it's actually not needed. So this function is called sum. It is going to take two parameters, a and b, and I just want it to return. I can write my function this way: return a plus b. So it's going to get two parameters, a and b, and it's going to return them to where? To our main, to whatever is calling it. And in this case, what is calling our function, it is our main. So let us call this function, which is called sum, and let us pass two parameters. Let's say we are passing let's say 5 and 5. Of course, we know what 5 and 5. So let us make an integer equals to it. Let's say y equals this. Of course, we have to come up here and declare our y, right? So now this is y. We can now go ahead and print it. Since our function is not printing anything, it's just returning the sum of two numbers. So we can come to our main program here and print it. We can actually print it here too, depending on what we want, but let us just make this function return the sum of two numbers. So I can come here and print my y, which I believe by this time must have contained the sum of these two numbers. So we can do this. Let me print a new line there as well. So this is basically what a function is, or how to write and call a function, which I believe those of us who are joining this class already have knowledge or idea of, because our focus tonight is not on function, it is on what we call variadic functions. But to understand variadic functions, we actually need to understand what a function is. So right about now, I'm going to compile my code and see if it is actually going to do what we want it to do. So this is gcc, okay, what's the name? Functions.c. So let me store the output inside function. Function. Okay, no errors. So I'm going to run the executable, which is the function. Alright, as expected, we know the sum of 10. The sum of 5 and 5 will be 10. Now, back to our main focus of today. What if I want to make this function add 3 numbers? What will I do? Can someone quickly unmute and tell us what am I going to do if I want this function to...
You initialize three variables instead, so you collect 3 arguments instead of 2.
Thank you very much. That means I have to start writing my whole program from the beginning. Starting from line 3, I have to come here and declare another int. Instead of me doing this is where variadic functions comes in. Variadic function. Variadic, it means it can take variable number of arguments. It means it can take variable number of arguments, unlimited. It depends on the user. As many as possible arguments that the user wants is what the program is going to take. So this is exactly where variadic functions comes in. This sum as a function on its own can only take 2 arguments. If I decide to pass 3 arguments here, let's say I pass another 5 here, I want it to add 5 plus 5 plus 5, and I decide to run this. Of course, I'm expecting an error. It's going to tell me too many arguments. Okay, let's just try that. All right, you can see that too many arguments to function sum. And if I decide to delete this, I passed just 1 argument to this. Of course, it should say too few, right? Okay, good. It says too few arguments to function sum. So the way our function is designed, it is designed to only take 2 arguments and 2 alone. It cannot take more than 2 arguments. So this is where variadic functions comes in. So we're going to rewrite this function this time around, but we're going to use a variadic function to do that. So right about now, I'm going to create another file called variadic.c. So I'm also going to, let me just come and copy this one. So just copy everything here to be faster. We don't have time on our side. All right, so let me edit this. Okay, let me say the most important thing when you want to write a variadic function, after declaring your parameters, these parameters are called compulsory parameters. So after declaring these parameters, if you still want more arguments, I will come here, put my comma, then I will now type what we might refer to in English as dot dot dot. But the correct grammar for this is, they call it ellipsis. I think that's the language to use for this. But here we can say dot dot dot. And in normal day-to-day usage, when I say dot dot dot, it means there are still more arguments. There are still more parameters I want to pass here, which I don't know. So I will just specify with a dot dot dot. Now I'm telling you, if I run this program as it is, let me come and change it here as well. I have to come here and update it. So
Top man is raising his hand though.
Okay, top man. You want to say
All right,
something?
thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Please, I want to quickly, because I'm leaving this call soon for some reasons. I want to say thank you to all of you that showed up. We got the feedback from the previous PLD, the one I had yesterday, and we are really working to ensure that everything works well. I mean, by this time, I shouldn't be expecting too much. You're from senior cohort, so you understand that we have an interest at heart, and we put in so much. We make several efforts to ensure that you are carried along. Just know that we have you at heart. Even though you did not even talk, some of you did not even make any. Some of you are even sending nice comments again from the feedback form. Despite what you experienced at some point, you almost look like some bits of bit or something, uh, because of but you guys should see errors like this, uh, still do know that that we came out for you is something to be appreciated, right? Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your patience and your understanding, and we are glad to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you, top man.
You may continue, please.
Thank you. Now you try pass.
Thank you very much for that statement. So as we were saying, I said a way to identify variadic functions easily when you see it is it's this ellipsis. It's telling you we still have other arguments that are unknown. It is continuous. I don't know the end of such an argument. Now I was saying if I should run this program, it should not give me any error. Although I haven't tried it before on my computer, but I'm not expecting any error. So let me run this again. Okay, it says too few arguments. Oh wow, yes, because I already specified, and I told you these two are called compulsory parameters, so I have to put these two. So I actually forgot to do that, so let me put again. This time around, let us use 10 and 5. 10 and 5. So these two parameters are compulsory, but these ones are okay. Let me even add, wait, let us do 10 and 5 first, then I will now add more arguments. Which error am I getting? Y is equal to sum of 5. Didn't I save this? Oh my god, it is not saved. Control S. This is saved now. return a plus b. I'm running this again. Oh, this is a new file. Sorry. sorry. I was running the old file. We are running variadic.c now. What's wrong? My computer has frozen up. Oh my god. Sorry for that. So gcc variadic. So this time around, let's put it inside variadic. So /variadic. Now it gave me 15. I passed 2 arguments. Sorry, let me increase my screen brightness. The light just went off. So right about now, I'm going to pass more than 2 arguments inside the same function, and like I said, it shouldn't give any error. My computer is so slow, kind of. Okay, sorry for that. So let me pass 15 here. Of course, I'm not expecting this 15 to do anything anything significant. In fact, let me pass 5. So once again, I'm running my variadic. Now it should throw the error of too many arguments, but it's not throwing such an error like it's throwing it in our functions.c file. So I'm going to run it. Of course, I'm to get 15 because my function is only returning the sum of a plus b. It means because we have declared our ellipses here, so we can take as much as possible arguments in our function. So if I do this, it shouldn't give me any error. That is the beauty of variadic. You see, no errors. That's the beauty of variadic function. It's still returning 15 because of our function, what our function is doing, our function definition. So now, can we say we already have a variadic function just merely looking at this code? Oh yes, I already have a variadic function. Is this how to actually write variadic functions? So now at this stage, I will go back to the Jamboard I was trying to use the other time. So where do I have it? So we have to actually define some terminologies before we can actually say that we have a variadic function. There are some things we need to know. So the other time we used the example, I'm just going to start writing now. Let me write, we declared sum as our, so we said it will take an int as the first parameter, comma int as the second parameter, then our dot, which we call the ellipses or ellipse, depending on. So I'm putting my semicolon there. This is my function declaration. So now I'm not going to write the definition of this function here. I'm just going to put the declaration here. Now there is something we call, if we want to start a variadic function list, there are some macros, so to speak, that we need to know of. The first macro is called our VA list. Now these macros are defined in an header file called st standard argument starg.h. So you have to say hash include, like we normally do. Your hash include, I'm not going to put that hash because I'm not so good with this Jamboard. So I believe we already understand what I'm saying. So we have to include this guy here, this darg standard argument.h, when we want to use these predefined macros. These predefined macros are already in our standard argument. So I said we are going to have something we call a VA list. So you are going to write it this way: VA. Oh, is this how to write A? VA a underscore a underscore list. By the way, what are macros? Anyone who can tell us what are macros? Okay, maybe I should just define that. Or is anyone raising up the hand? Can anyone tell us what macros are? Okay, so macros are like okay, macros are like should I say okay, go on.
Means something that
Something that is who is speaking? Something that is what? Okay, you wanted to say like a nickname of a variable, right? So when we use the word macros, we can say it's like an alias or another name for another thing. When we want to define macros, we normally use the keyword #define. So you use that word, although these macros are for your preprocessor to actually, how will I put it? It is not going to be accessed at the compilation stage. It is at the preprocessing stage. So for instance, a very common macro is #define pi. P in capital letters, pi in capital letters as well. Then we now say 3 point is it 142 now? That's our pi. 142. So this is you telling your preprocessor that anytime you see pi in my program, it means 3.142. So before the compilation at the preprocessing stage, what is running your program, we search for anywhere pi appears in your program, it's going to substitute it for this value. That is what its macros are. They are like nickname or a simpler way to write a more readable code. Imagine you writing a code and you're having 3.142 almost everywhere. But with just pi, even someone who is not a programmer would know that pi means pi is 3.142. So it's just a way to make our codes more readable. That's what macros majorly are, and they have other uses, which I believe by this weekend or possibly next week, you are going to have a class of preprocessors and we are going to go in depth on what macros are. So we said we have something we call v_list. It is already defined in this stdarg.h. If you are so curious, you can go to the documentation of this header file and you can go and check what va_list is. But when you have a va list, you have to declare your list. va_list, you have to declare your list. That is the name of your list. It doesn't necessarily have to be this guy here. When I want to define my list, I don't need to come and put sum here. So what is my list? Let's say let me just give it another name.
Sorry, Mr. Samuel, someone's hand is up.
Okay, please, you can go on, ask your question.
It's about the macro. I missed it. I don't get the definition. The macro.
Okay, right now, don't bother yourself too much about what macros are. But I'm just telling you that macros are, it can be functions, it can be variables, or it can even be, should I say, strings, pi. Like let's say pi is a string. It can be names that are already predefined. They are like nickname. Like for instance now, my name is Samuel, but I have a nickname called Sanfrodo. So if I want to write a program, instead of me putting, okay, like instead of someone calling me Samuel, the person can just say Sanfrodo. That Sanfrodo is already known. I have to come and put it here, #define, then I will say Sanfrodo, then I'll now put Samuel. So this #define keyword is the way to actually declare your macro. This pi is what will be in your program. The value is this 3.142. So that means anywhere there is pi is not a defined keyword in C language, but you can actually use pi in your program in as much as you have already defined it as a macro. So you are going to define it at the top after you include stdio.h blah blah blah, then you put your hash define pi 3.142, it will be at the top. So anywhere you put pi in your program, your I don't want to say compiler now because it's not the compilation stage, your preprocessor will know that it will just search what is pi. Pi is 3.142, so it is going to put the value of pi. For instance, if you wrote a program and you wrote pi plus 2, it will not throw an error. It will not say pi is undefined. It is already defined up there. So it is going to know pi is 3.142. So it will just do 3.142 plus 2. So it's just a way to have a more readable code per se. I don't know if you got that clearly, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. So we have a VA list. Now, your VA list can only take the name of your list. So I can name my list anything that I like. So let me just name it. Since it is something related to sum, let's assume we want to write a list, a program now that can add unlimited number of arguments, unlike our normal functions that can take maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 depending on what we have written in our lines of code. So now I want us to pay attention to these macros because we are going to be using them in the course of this our discussion. So I'll just list all the macros that we have that are already predefined and tell us the function their uses. Therefore, we're now going to writing the real codes and see the practical applications of these our macros. So the first macro is VA list. Like I said, what it does is that it declares the start of our list. It declares that yes, we want to have a list. What is a list? All these dot, they are the list. The ellipses, like I said earlier, they are the list. And they are arguments that we don't know. It is the user that we input them. Like they can be anything per se. But these ints, and this int, these guys are fixed. They are things we call compulsory arguments. But these ones are optional arguments. You might include them and you might not include them. Your program will still run. So now let me name my VA list. That means I'm telling my compiler I want a list called vsum. So I just want to name it vsum. You can name it anything, anything. v_sum. Let me just name it that way. I just want it to be something related to sum. So after our VA list, we have another macro. We call it VA start.
Sorry.
Okay.
So the VA list
Yes.
will list all the macros only.
No. VA list is going to create a list called vsum. I don't know if you let me list all the macros, then maybe we'll now understand more clearly. It means
Okay.
This vsum is going to, the parameters of vsum is going to be anything in this dot. It is unknown. We don't know it. It's only when we are running.
Okay.
But these ints and these ints are going to be for this sum. But this dot, the unknowns are going to be for our list. So this VA list is telling us I want to start a list. What is the name of my list? Let me name it vsum. I can name it whatever I like. So that's what VA list macro is doing. It's the first one we are going to write. It's just going to give us the name of our list. After that, we go to our next macro. We call it VA start. This is when our list is starting. So VA_start. Once again, the definition of all these macros, what they are doing, their prototype and everything about them. If you check through your stdarg.h header file, you can Google it and see the documentation. If you are so curious, you can go there and check the documentation and see what exactly they are doing. But I will tell you what they are doing. Now your VA start takes 2 arguments. So at this point we need to actually pay close attention. Our VA start takes 2 arguments. The first argument it takes is your list name. So I'm going to write that. My list name is v_sum. The name can be any name you choose to give your program. The name is your choice. Then I will now put what we call a comma. So the next argument that I will put here will be the last argument before my list. What am I saying? I will come to my function. What is the last argument before my list? Where is my list? My list starts from this dot, dot, dot. So what is the last argument before my list? I will come and pass it here. So here I actually wrote a function definition. So here I should have written something like int a, then here int b. So here I will come and pass b. Okay, I didn't even put a semicolon here. I should have done that. And here too as well. So what is VA start? V underscore. Let me write this well. Let's see. Okay. So V underscore start is telling your compiler this is where my list starts from. It means my list starts from anything after B, which is what is the immediate argument after B? They are the optional parameters which we don't know. So that is what VA start is doing. It is telling your list. It is telling your compiler, sorry, this is where my list starts from. It starts from the next argument after B. If I should pass A here, the compiler will throw an error because the argument following A, int A is not dot dot dot. So you have to pass an argument here that whatever is following this argument must be our dot dot dot. So if I have int A, int B, int C, comma then dot dot dot, I'm not going to pass B again. I'm going to come and pass int C. I'm not going to put int at the back with just the name. So I'm going to pass C here. So my compiler will come and check. I'm passing C. What is following C? Dot dot dot. Then my VA start is correct. But if I do otherwise, it is going to throw an error. If you understand these 2 points, I think we can go on to the next macro. Can I move on? Do we understand what VA list does and VA start does?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right.
Start to some extent. To some extent, it said VA list creates the list called VSOM, and
Yes.
VA start is the one that shows where your what's that term that you use again?
Where my list
That
starts
dot dot
from.
dot.
Okay, ellipse.
Ellipse.
Where that ellipse, the parameter before the ellipse, where it starts, where your
Yes.
list starts. Maybe.
Yes, exactly. You are correct. Very, very correct. Now, the another macro we need is a macro that will let us access the elements of this parameter. Because looking at this function, we have our A, which we know. We have our B, which we know. The other time we did 5 plus 5 or whatever we want to return. Now, these arguments, how do we know what the user has entered here? This is where our VA argument comes in. So this one is also called VA underscore ARJ. Once again, it is already predefined. What it does is already predefined in our stdarg.a. If you are so curious, you do the needful and go and check. So let me tell you what it does. As well, it takes 2 arguments. VA underscore ARG takes 2 arguments. The first argument it takes is your list name. What is my list name? I have to come here, VA list, vsum. So my list name is v underscore sum. So it will take that as the first argument. Comma. Then this VARG, it is used to access the elements of my list. So if the first element of my list here, that is the element the user will enter, if it is an integer, I have to specify the data type. So maybe I should even write it in generic forms. I shouldn't just put, I should write list name, comma, data type. Maybe we understand more better that way. I should write everything in generic forms. So when we now start our actual coding, we can now start putting. So let me write this in. Please just give me a little time. list name, then your data type. That is the data type of that argument. We are still going to discuss a bit about this data type because it's actually important we know data type. If you are just saying all these things for the first time, it might actually be strange, but as we move on, you are going to understand more better. So here, our VA starts. How will I write this B? How will I write something as long as the argument before the ellipse? I don't know if I can type that with this, but of course this VSOM will be the function name. Then I believe I'm still going to put B because I can't type something as long as that. Yeah. So our V underscore starts, and we take the name of our list followed by as well to take our list name followed by the arguments preceding the ellipses. The last argument, let me use that language. Oh my god, it's going to be long. Last argument preceding the ellipse. Preceding the, let me just write it down here, the ellipse. I don't even know if this is the correct spelling. Okay, let's just leave it that way. I believe it should ellipses. Our VA list, just any name. You can declare any name you like. Yeah, let me write it that way. Whatever we are doing here right now will soon make sense when we start the actual code, but I just want us to have the background knowledge. We don't just want to start, don't want to jump into the actual macros and start using them. So my VA lists, you can choose to bracket it, and you can choose not to bracket it. It's your choice. It depends on you. List name, any name you like.
Any name.
List. Come again, please. So I put this. Now, your VA hag, like I said, it is used to access the elements of your list. So anytime you call VA hag in your program, by default, I repeat, by default, it is going to access the first element in your list. If you call VA hag again, it is going to access the next element in your list. Now, when I'm saying list, I'm not referring to A and B. I'm referring to the ellipse. Whatever elements the user enters, whether 3 numbers, 4 numbers, 5 numbers, I don't care. But no matter how many they are, our VA hag will access them one at a time. If you know this, then you are good to go with our VA hag. Now, there is something, okay, when I get there, let me just say it now, but when we start the actual coding, you will see. When we are talking about data types, this particular data type that I put here, for instance, if my list name is vsum or sum or whatever, then if the arguments VA hag is accessing here is an integer, I need to put an int here. If the element my VA hag is accessing is a character, please, in Variadic Function, all characters are automatically promoted to integers. So I will still put int as the data type. Although we know it is a char, there is nothing like a VA hag macro doesn't accept a character as a data type. That is the way it is designed. I wouldn't know why they did that, but VA hag, if you pass character inside, it is going to throw an error. All characters are regarded as integers. It's the way it has been predefined, and we cannot change that. Again, what if your In fact, let me even put it somewhere here. If the data type is a car, we refer to it as an int. We pass int inside our var. If it's an integer normally, maybe 1, 2, 3 or whatever, we call an int. We pass int. But what if it is a string? There is no how will I put it? Syntax for string actually, but let us use str for a string. What do you pass? You pass, what is a string normally? It's a character pointer. So you are allowed to pass a character pointer as your data type for a var. Now we still have one more data type, which we call a float. Float, 1 point something, 2 point something, that's a float. So let me just put it here. If it is a float, float, once again, your v_arg doesn't take float as a data type. All float values are automatically converted, or let me say automatically promoted to doubles. So here, if it is a float, you pass in a double. That is the way it is designed. I wouldn't know why they designed it like that. What's the spelling of double again? double. Okay. So
Is it only me? It looks like your screen is frozen from my side though.
Someone else should confirm, please.
It's clear. Same on my end.
It's
It's
frozen
not
too.
frozen here.
It's not frozen
Yeah.
here. It's fine. I think it's a
It's
network.
not frozen here.
Okay, let me just share the screen again. Okay. So where is my Jamboard? Okay, can someone please confirm?
Yeah, it's showing now.
It's showing now.
Sure, I'm seeing.
Thank you. So I was actually talking about a float. I said, let me just give examples of characters. So we see a character could be something like B. This is a character. An integer could be something like 5. That's a character. A string could be something in double quotes, anything you like. It can be 1, 2, 3, it can be ABC, it can be whatever, but it must be in double quotes. That's our string. So let me just write ABC here as a string. Now, one very useful way we use our how will I put it, variadic functions, is when you are writing a program and you want to get inputs from a user and you do not know how many parameters or how many inputs your user is going to fill. So we can use variadic functions to know. Maybe you ask for a user's name, his age, his date of birth, his country, location, what have you. It might fill some, it might not fill some. How will you know? This v_a_arg will tell you how many. You can use it to access how many of those parameters your user filled. So that's a very useful application of variadic functions. It can take unlimited, just like the word variadic, various arguments can enter. Okay, so this is an example of a float. I told you if the data type is a float, that is, if the elements or in the list that you're accessing is a float, please pass in a double. Don't pass in a float as the data type for va_arg. That means va_arg can only take int character pointer. Wow, I didn't put a pointer here. I should put an asterisk here. Okay, character pointer, that's our string. All strings are character pointers. No one told me I did a mistake there. Okay, so I told you if it's a character, you should pass in. If it's a character, you should pass in an int. All characters are automatically promoted to integers, and all floats are automatically promoted to doubles. Then the last but not the least macro we are going to talk about is va_end. So permit me to just put it at this side. So it's just like the name implies, it should be the opposite of va underscore start. So it is used to end your list. So you must always declare it as well. So what do you pass inside? Your list name, that's all. So at this stage, I believe we can proceed to the next stage. Is there still anyone who is not like following, or all these things looks like rubbish, or is not understanding what we have been saying since morning about variadic functions?
Before you continue, can you explain that S dot H?
Okay, you said, can I explain stdarg.h?
Please, because you've not said anything about it with this under this VA list, VA start.
Okay, you can see stdarg is a type of, should I say, header file, let me use that language, but it's already defined in our C library. This stdarg.h header file is already defined in our C library, and by default what it does is that it allows us to give variable number of arguments to a function. That is what standard argument does. That is the work. That was why it was designed, it was made. So inside this
Okay, we
standard
just
argument.h is now where we have our macros. These macros with va list,
okay,
va start. If we do not declare it as our header file, our compiler will be like va list is undefined, va start is undefined, all this nonsense, va arg and va end. It will tell us it is undefined. But if we include our standard argument.h, then when we call va list, it is going to come inside this place. What va list does is already defined here. We don't need to actually bother ourselves with the function declaration of this macro. But of course, we just need to know how it works, and that is what this period is all about. What does va list do? What does va start? What does it do? That is what we are here to discuss. We are not here to discuss how the function declaration prototype was written. So,
thank you, sir.
all right. So
Hello?
I did. Okay, please go on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello, Samuel.
I can hear you.
Because I came late. Please, could you explain this int?
Oh,
Can
you
you
came
explain this
late.
int sum?
You
Int
came
sum.
late. You came late. You came
What is
late.
it for?
Oh my god. Okay. Int sum is just a function actually. It's not part of our, how will I put it? It's not part of our macros. I just have used an example initially for if we are declaring a function that can take only 2 arguments, but this int sum that you are looking at here can take unlimited arguments because of this dot 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 that is here. It shows and so on and so forth. So I have the first argument, which is int a, int b, and I have other arguments which are unknown. So what I just declared here means I have a function called sum that can take unlimited number of arguments. But of course, int a and int b are called what did I say the other time? They are called compulsory arguments. Why these ones, this dot dot dot, are called optional. So you can write a function, you can call sum and pass 1 and 2 and don't pass anything, it will still work. You can write a function, you can call this sum and pass 1 to represent this one, 2 to represent this one, and 3 to represent this one, it will still work. But if you call this sum and you pass only 1, it shouldn't work because you've declared 2 compulsory parameters here. That means our function sum must contain at least 2 parameters. That reminds me, thank you for asking this question. When you are writing a function, a variadic function, this int sum now is a variadic function, it must have at least 1 argument. That is the law. I cannot write a function sum and come and pass dot 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 only inside. It is not allowed. You must have at least 1 data type declared before you can pass your dot dot dot. Your dot 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 cannot be the only argument in any variadic function. Once again, it must have at least 1 argument So that means my sum can have only int a, then only then can dot 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 follow. This int b, if I like, I can decide to put it, I can decide to remove it, but I cannot remove a and b and only pass dot dot dot. My compiler is going to complain. So at this stage, I don't know if I can go on and we start getting our hands into the actual code and try to see all this, whatever we have been discussing about since. Can I move on, please?
Yes, yes, you can move on.
Okay, good evening.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So for those who came late, let me just quickly go over this. We initially wrote a function which is called sum, and we passed two arguments, and we called our sum here and we gave it just one argument. Our compiler threw an error. Why? Because we already specified two. So we called this sum again. We passed more than one argument, more than two, I mean. We passed three arguments into our sum. You can see it's already, you can see my VS Code is already complaining. You can see my light. It's already complaining about this line. Why? Because it's going to give a compiler error when I run this. Because of what? I already specified my sum can take only two arguments, but I specified more than two here. So if I want my sum to actually add three numbers, I have to come here and start changing my code. I have to put a plus here, plus c. Let's assume we declared c here, then in c here. You can see the process. Then I should expect this error to, okay, I have to come and edit it here again and put an int there. So this error should actually vanish. Okay, you can see it's no more signifying an error there. If I wanted to add four numbers, I have to repeat the same process. Start adding int here, pass four numbers here, pass another int here. You can see how stressful it can be. But all this stress has been eliminated with variadic function. That is why we need a variadic function. Various, unlimited number of arguments. That is exactly what it does. So here we have two compulsory parameters which we called ints. They are integers. So here in my variadic function, you can see I passed more than two, and my VS Code is not giving or complaining. Why? Because I've included the ellipse. If I decide to delete this, trust me, I should get a compiler error somewhere. You can see it's already wrong. Okay, let me delete it here as well. Okay, can you see it placed the light icon here, showing me that this 5 is going to complain because I already specified what? Two arguments, and I already passed more than two. So it's at this point I'm already going beyond the scope of the function. But with my variadic function, which I said it must always be indicated with a dot dot dot, I can actually add more than one element in my list. So now, like I said, let us should we still have this guy here? Print y. We don't need this guy here. We don't need to print it. So now let us go into our lists. Okay, we don't need this sum here. Okay, let's leave this one. So now this is our okay. Let us come and define sum here. We are writing our list now. So we are going to call this function. Like I said, the first thing we need to do when we want to start our list is that we have to declare our list name. So we can still remember those macros we spoke about. We are going to use them right now and start writing. We are still going to write the same function that will add unlimited number of numbers. So let us try to write the function. So here, let me just put my return value before I forget. Okay, so this function as well. Let us start with our list. So the first thing we do, we declare our Of course, see, it's not showing here. My VS Code should actually give me. Why? Because I haven't declared the header file. You can say VA. It's not showing anything like VA list here. Why? But let me come and put the header file here. This VA list you are seeing here is not the VA list we are looking for. It's not in caps. So I should come here actually and declare my header file, which I said include our standard argument stdarg.h. Now, when I come here to type VA list, I should actually say, can you see? It's already telling me, because of what I've actually declared, where the VA list is defined. So I can just click on this now. VA list, what? It takes what? The name of our list. Now, we can use any name. So let me use this sum. Or let me even name it add. Let me say my list is called add. So I'll put my semicolon. Like I said, you can decide to put it inside the bracket or not. It depends on you. But actually, the compiler shouldn't complain or give any errors. So after our declaration of our VA list, what do? We start the list. So now, VA start should show somewhere here. So VA underscore start. Okay, it's there. So what are we going to pass inside? Earlier, we said our VA underscore start. Why is it actually wronging it right now? Okay, let's continue. It accepts two parameters. The first one is our list name. What's our list name? Is add. So we're going to come here. Okay, let me do this. We're going to come here, pass add, then we separate it with a comma. Then we are going to pass the last element before our ellipse. What's the last element? It is B. So I'm going to pass B inside. Okay, it has removed the, okay, no more compiler errors. So after our VA underscore start, we can now do whatever I want to do with our list. So here we said we want to add numbers, unlimited number of arguments. So how do we go about this in adding numbers? Or before I even add numbers, let me show you how, because we are going to use this. Let me show you how our VA underscore hag works. I told us the other time, let me declare it here, that anytime you call VA underscore hag, it's going to actually come and check the first element of your list. So now, this is the function sum. This function sum, we are calling it here. Now, this function sum has two arguments that are compulsory arguments. They are here. These are the two compulsory arguments, 10 and 5. That means these other arguments are actually my list. These arguments, unlimited arguments, I can decide to add more and I can decide not to add more. So these arguments are actually my list. So when I call this VA hag, I'm expecting it, if I decide to print VA hag, I'm expecting it to give me this guy here. Let me just rename them so we can actually see. Let me pass 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, 5 here, 6, 7, 8 here, and 9 here. So I've declared my list, which is called add. So I'm calling a VA underscore start. I'm telling it this is where my list starts from. So this VA start is the one starting your list. It is telling you my list starts from anything after B. So what are the arguments we passed in? That means this is the first element of our list. So now our VA hag, like I said, it also takes two arguments. The first one is what? Our list name, followed, what's my list name? It is add, followed by the data type. So I have to come and check what is the data type of this guy, the first element of my list. It is int. It's a number, so it is going to take int as the data type. So I close that. Now I've called VA hag here. Automatically, this guy is already called because it's the first element in my list. So if I decide to print this VA hag, just for you to see, okay, so let me print it out using my %d. Okay, so I should close the bracket here. Just as a note of warning, this VA underscore ag, in my own books, I will describe it as a ticking time bomb because you won't know when you will start using it anyhow and you will actually spoil your program. You have to be very, very, very careful when you are using VA underscore ag. Anytime you call it by default, it is going to call the first element of your list. If you call it again, it is going to call the next element. Call it the third time, the next element. So you have to be careful when you are calling this VA underscore ag. So right now, let me just okay, how can I do this? Shift Alt down arrow. Oh, it's not working.
Mr. Samuel, please, I have a question.
Okay,
Yeah, please, I just want to understand something.
okay,
The list you're calling,
yes,
that means the list, like the list, is a parameter that or is a variable that stores the ellipses. Is it true?
yes.
Okay.
So that means our add starts from where? It starts from after B. So anything from here, this is A, this is B. Where did our list start from? Anything after B. That's how VA start works. It will go and check the
That's
element
three.
after this one. That means our add list starts from here. It has how many elements? 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Seven.
I can decide to shorten it, I can decide to add more. But all I know is that VA our list can take as much as possible, unlike our normal function sum that we wrote here that can only take anything we define here and nothing more. So always remember to put your dot 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 or your ellipses while you are writing your function. So right about now, let me just print this guy. Will I print them on new line or okay, I've actually spaced them out. So let us run this. I need to comment this. I don't need to, you don't need the sum of those guys. So I just want us to see how, or let me just put return 0 here sef. Now this function is not actually calculating sum. We are just trying to tell us how VA underscore ag works, because for me to actually write the function that returns sum, I'm going to call this guy and I don't want us to get confused when we start calling it. So variadic.c. So let me run again. Hopefully there's no errors. Okay, so it's printed 3, 4, 5 as expected. 3, 4, 5. Now we have seen that our VA hag by default we access the first element after this B. So now if I want my list to start from 5, someone should tell me how I should rewrite this program. I want my list to start counting from 5. How will I write that? If you are confident enough, please unmute and tell us. I want my list to actually start from this 5. So if I want to print these guys now, I want it to start printing from 5, 6, and 7. Is there a way to do that?
On your VA start,
Okay.
you put and then instead of putting B,
Please let me go step by step. My VA start, I put what?
you instead of putting B, you remove B
Okay.
and just put VA and
VA.
yes.
Oh, wait. Have you forgotten how our VA start works? It takes 2 arguments. Your list name, then the
Okay.
parameter before, the last parameter before your ellipses. So the first thing we should do is we should come and change our arguments here.
Okay.
If I want my list to start from here, how many compulsory parameters am I going to have then? Because these lists are optional parameters. So that is telling us that I'm going to have how many compulsory parameters, sir?
How before
Thank you very much. So that means I have to rewrite my,
the sum function
okay. So let me just use C,
int
then
C
int
and
D.
int B. Yes.
So let me come and see. It's already complaining here. Let me come and write this guy too.
Okay.
Int, int. Please always remember to put our comma before this guy. Okay. So I've rewritten this. I've rewritten it. Now my VA start is the one complaining. So what should I do now?
Now it will be D.
D. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Is it complaining? Let's see. Wow, the error is gone. I think our program is all set. So we are printing 1, 2, 3. I want it to start from where? From 5, 5, 6, 7. So according to the program you just wrote now, sir, we are expecting it to print 5, 6, 7. So let us see if you're actually in line. Oh, wow, you are correct. So we can see it's printed 5, 6, 7. I don't know if anyone is following about how you can make your list. You can declare where your list will start from. If anyone
Where the
understands,
list will start from.
yes, I don't know if anyone understands the, how will I put it, the syntax, the rules that we must follow.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I want to do something. I want to write it in such a way that, let me just cut these guys off. Okay. I want to have only this guy here. I want to have only this guy here, and all these ones should be gone. I only want to have my optional parameters in here. So someone should tell me, is this going to run? So my VA starts. What will I even pass? Will I pass dot dot dot? Okay. So should this run?
No,
Why?
because you have to pass a function before the, is it a function or what do you call it now?
A
Before
parameter.
that dot dot dot, a
Attack.
parameter before
Thank
dot
you.
dot dot.
Thank you.
There should be arguments.
Thank you very much. So this is it. Your our variadic, I said a variadic function, okay, always, it's always has at least a compulsory parameter. That's the law. A compulsory parameter before our, so that is why it will not run. I've never tried it before, but let me just see the error it will bring up. Okay, you can see required argument before the ellipse. So it's already defined in our ISO-C. Please, someone should mute his mic. Please, Mr. Ugo Chukwu. Thank you. Okay, let me go back to my VS Code. So that is why our function will not run. So let me just comment this guy and actually do control. Wait, I should do control Z. I should copy this guy actually. So I can use control Z for that. I can put in
Sorry, please, Mr. Sam.
Okay.
Sorry, I want to drag you back from the first program, the one we just wrote before we came to this point. I want to understand when we are starting our, you wrote a parameter of 1, 2, 3, 4, and you wrote
This
that
one.
is,
This one.
yeah, the one that print. No, not this one.
Okay.
You know, we wrote one before. Yeah, the one we just edited from here now.
It's actually this guy. The only difference is that this one has the ellipse. This variadic.c has the ellipse, but this one doesn't have. That's the only difference. So I actually
Okay.
edited it to, when we declare our ellipse, we have to use our macros.
Okay,
But this guy
yeah,
doesn't
something
have
like
it.
this. These were my questions. Like now, like this D now, it said it started with printing from 5.
Which
I don't
one?
understand what,
Okay.
like this VA
Okay.
start add comma D.
VA
When
had.
we come,
Yes.
yeah, no VA start.
Okay.
No, you started with D here,
Yes.
and you said you should print out from 5. You ask me a question how to print out. Want to
Yeah.
start from five down and like that.
Yes.
Is it that the one at the beginning is not counted? Because I was trying to do the counting, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I got lost what you're explaining or so.
Okay, wait, let me return that. Okay, like this. Now, this one is called a parameter, but it's a compulsory parameter. Okay, now let me run this program. I want to delete these guys. You will see it will complain because I actually have to pass. I'm calling sum now. This is the sum. My function declaration means says it must contain 4 compulsory parameters. It is this dot 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 that can be optional, and you might decide not to actually put parameters, but it must be at least 4 for my function declaration here, or declaration here of definition. So if I'm calling sum and I'm passing less than 4, it will complain. But that doesn't mean this one, the first 4 are not, how will I put it? They are not part of the list. They are not actually part of the list, but they are part of the function. Now I will tell you what compulsory parameters are used for as we go on. It's not that we are just putting them for fun. You get, you
Okay.
should add them when you want to use them to do something specific. So, but here it's actually not doing anything. I did mean I've written this function that my A is doing something, my B is doing something, my C is doing something, and my D is doing something. You understand why I actually said they must be compulsory parameters. Why I didn't say they should be part of this our ellipse. But here they're
Okay.
actually very useless. They are not doing anything in our program. But we'll still see as we go on where we can use compulsory parameters to do stuff that will make our program more easier. We've actually not added the numbers, so that's where we're actually going to add unlimited number of numbers as much as possible.
All
um
right. Thank you very much.
all right, please, is there anyone here who doesn't know how va_arg works now in accessing elements? So let me write my function to contain only 2. We don't need these guys here. Okay, then I have to come here and edit this to b to show that it is the last argument before our ellipse. So I want to do something now. I'm not printing, so let me remove my printf. I'm not printing. So let me just indent that just for clarity. So okay, I shouldn't have. Okay, so let me come and print down here. Can someone tell me what is going to be printed out to the screen? In fact, let me even make it more okay, like this. Who can tell me what to be printed? Please check through and see.
This it's two that will be printed now.
Which two?
The third one.
3 and 8.
3 and 8.
It should be 3 and 8.
3, that is our first element, and 8, our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, our sixth element.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, let's try it. You said 3 and 8. Let us see.
I think it will be just 3 and 4.
It will be what?
I think it will. I think it will be 3 and 4.
3 and 4. All right, that's
Yeah.
another. Okay. So let us run 3 and 8 or 3 and 4. Let us see. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's printed 3 and 8. So the person that told us 3 and 8, can you explain why you decided to go with 3 and 8?
You know the VA ad.
Yes.
So you listed it from the first.
Okay. Yes.
So when you plug it there,
it printed the integer after 2. That's 3.
Okay.
So for the remaining one, you called it again. So after calling it, it skips the one that we call to the next one. So the more you call it, the more it skips each till it gets to the sixth one. Then you now print it.
Thank you. That's just the uh, simple explanation to that. I said that anytime we call VA hag, that's why I said it's a ticking time bomb. You don't use it anyhow. You have to be very, very careful with VA underscore hag. Here I called it, but I said it should be printed out. And this was the first time I called it in my program. So that is why it will come and access the first element of my list. Once again, my list starts from anywhere after B, because I've already stated it here. Starts after B. So this is my list. It is starting from 3. Now I called it for fun just here without doing anything on line 21. I called it. When I called it, it's going to access this guy. On line 22, I called it again. Automatically, it's going to access this guy. On line 23, I called it again. It's going to access this guy by default. That is how VA underscore ag works. On line 24, I called it again. Automatically, it's on this guy, the next element. Then on line 25, I called it again. This time I said it should print the value. That was why it printed our 8. So this shows us that we don't call VA underscore ag anyhow in our program. Once again, it's a ticking time bomb that you have to be very, very careful of how you use it. I don't know if we still have any other questions as regards this program before we actually move on to what we want it to do. That is adding numbers, our function. Okay, in the absence of no question, I will move on. So how do we write a function, a variadic function that we had numbers? At this point, we need to actually do something with our compulsory parameters. Now, maybe let us write this function in such a way that it will print to the console how many numbers do you want to add, because I wouldn't know how many numbers my user wants to add. Is it 2 numbers? Is it 3 numbers? Is it 4? So how will I know? This is where your work comes in as a programmer. You have to find a way to know. It's your job to know, to find out to know. Now, if I say add, at least my first number is starting from here, add 3 and 4. Do I know if the user still wants to add all these ones? Or do I know if the user just wants to add 3 numbers? Or the user wants to add even more than these numbers? So this is where I have to actually try to get like a response or a feedback from my user. So I can just start this way, print f. You can do this in various ways. Actually, this is not the only way to add 2 numbers, please. So I'm just writing it this way to make the program more readable for us and beginner friendly, kind of. Oh, what am I writing? How many numbers? Or wait, don't let us start with this self. Let us use our compulsory parameters first. Don't let us do this. Don't let us do this. Now, at this point, I'm going to delete my int b. It's no longer needed. Yep. Then I come here to, I want int a to actually do something. A and b, they've been useless all the while, but I want them to actually do something now. So my list is starting after a, that's my VA start. Now, I want to write my function in such a way that this a will tell us how many numbers our user wants to add. So that means since 1 is here, it means our user is just going to add 1 number. So I want to write my function in such a way that the first letter here, that is the one not part of the list, will tell me how many numbers you want to add. So I'm going to write a loop, a for loop. Then I'm going to use the condition of a. as the terminating condition. So I'm going to write my loop like this. For, okay, let me declare an integer here. Let's say, as usual, the norm int I. So let's use our I, although it is overused in C. For I equals to 0, then as usual we use our semicolon. Then we say I less than our A, then my semicolon, then I increment my I. Whatever this is, it will make sense soon. So once again, I want to use my curly braces. Then now this is my for loop, starting from 0, I less than A, that is the first guy which is not part of our list, this A, then I plus plus. What do I want to do? I want to add. So I actually have to declare another integer called sum. So let me declare it here, and let me initialize it to 0, because when you want to find the sum of numbers, if you do not initialize it to 0, sum can just take any garbage values, and if you start adding it to your whatever you want to sum to it, and we wouldn't want that. So our program will have a very big bug. So I say sum equals to what? Sum plus, what do I put here? I put the elements in the list. How do I do that? As usual,
Okay.
we use our what? Someone wants to say something? What do I type there? I want to access the elements in the list one by one.
So the component.
V argument.
Thank you.
I'm on fully many choice.
Please, host, help us mute that person. VA underscore hag. So what am I going to pass inside my V underscore hag? Because it's actually throwing an error now. So someone should tell us what is going to enter our VA underscore hag.
The VA list name.
Okay,
The
which is
list
what?
name. Add.
Thank you. Then what do I do?
Type the data type. Integer.
Thank you. Oh. That reminds me again. The other time while I was using my slide, I actually forgot. I said it, but I wanted to demonstrate it. I said all this nonsense that I put here, it might look like nonsense, but I wanted to demonstrate this on the, unfortunately we started writing our program. So please allow me to quickly demonstrate all this, please. Why I said if you pass a character, it will automatically be promoted to an int. If you pass a float, it will automatically be promoted to a double. So let me quickly do that, so when we start printing our list, we don't get lost. So please allow me to comment this for now. Allow me to do that. So I want to call my VA underscore add. In fact, let me print it out safe. If I call it, I'm just calling it for fun. It's not going to be printed. So let me call it, and let me print it, I mean. So I'm using %d and VA underscore hag. Then I pass my list name, and I pass the data type. So this program is only printing the first element of this list. What's the first element of this list? It is this. Where did we? Okay, list should start from A. Okay, this is A here. So the list is starting from 2. So this program should actually print 2 according to line 21. So let's run that and see. It's good. So it's printed 2. Now let's assume this 2 is not an integer. So I want to edit it now. I want to change it to a character. Let's say F. Something like that. Now the data type, like I said, you shouldn't come and change it to character. If you do that, your compiler is going to complain. I said all characters in your list, they are automatically promoted to ints. That is the way your VA hag is designed. Why it is done that way, once again, I do not know. So let me compile my program. Of course, we are expecting an error. It should tell us VA hag doesn't take a character, but let's just go on. All right. Can you see? It says character is what? Promoted to what? To int when passed through our list. So therefore, this particular guy f is not a character, it has been automatically converted to to an integer. So therefore I should come back here, Control Z, okay, so int, then I can now go ahead and print this guy. But of course, because I specified %d, it's going to print the numeric value for f. So I can use my 102. F, small letter f is 102 in ASCII numeric form. I believe this thing is not confusing anybody here. If I want it to be printed as a character, I will just change it to %c here. So my printf can actually convert this int. This is a character actually, but my list converted it to an int, but my printf can help me convert it back from an int to a character. But inside this list, f is not a character. It is, although we are seeing it as a character here, but it has been promoted to the numeric value. You know, all characters have their own ASCII numbers. So when it enters your list, automatically it will be converted to the integer value. But of course, printf is so dynamic and it will help us to convert it back. So now when I run my code once again, I'm expecting not to get a numeric value this time around, but a what? A character. Now, does that mean that this guy is now a character? No, because here we specified what? In. If he passes a character here, he's going to complain as usual. So that is what I meant by we saying all characters are passed as integers, are promoted to integers, like we saw in the error. Now let us come to a string. So how do we know a string? It has a double quote. So I'm just going to put this as double quotes. So let me just say cool. Let me just pass that. Now I want to print this out to the console. So this guy here, we want to access it using our va_. So what will I pass here as my data type for my va_. We'll pass a
character pointer.
Thank you. So I just do this. So when I try to print this, it is going to access this guy, which is a string. Okay, I specified %c actually, so it's my printf spoils that. So let us change it to %s. That's a big error. So let's do that again. So now our string has been printed out to the screen. Now, apart from strings, we can also have floats. So here, let me just write 2.09 or 06, anyone. So this is a float. Now, once again, we have to so I said something about floats.
Double.
So thank you. All floats are automatically converted to doubles. So if I pass a float, let me pass a float first so we see. In fact, the compiler will complain even before we compile. It's not complaining. Wow. Okay, but let's run. Oh, it was VS Code that didn't complain. The compiler will actually complain. So once again, what's the warning message? Float is promoted to double when passed through what? A list. So we can't say this is a float. It's a float in the real sense, but it will be converted to a double. So we have to come and say the data type is a double. So now we have seen practically what we've discussed about va_arg. It doesn't take characters. It doesn't take floats. So yeah.
Please, I have a question, sir.
Okay, please let me run this program first so we can confirm if double will actually work. Please, after that you can ask your question, please. Okay, so it printed the float value for our 2.06. We can see the precision for floats, I think, is higher than the precision for doubles. So that's why the precision for doubles is higher than the precision for floats. That's why it's printing it in this format as a what? As a double. Okay, please, you can go on now with your question.
Yeah, thank you, sir. My question is, the other time I saw you using a char pointer. Does
Yes.
that mean that anytime we put, char is part of our, anytime char, any character is part of our function list, does that mean that it will print the character or it will convert it to integer, then it will now turn to character? That's my question. That's question number one. Then question number two: how can someone know the entire length of that for every parameter put inside that function?
Okay, let's start with the first question. The first question, I didn't understand it clearly. Are you referring to a character or you are referring to a string? Char asterisk, character pointer means a string. And you know strings are identified with double quotes in C language. Like this. Anything in a double quote is a string. So I can just pass your, what's your name?
Emmanuel.
Okay. So I can just pass this. So I will come here and say it is a character pointer. Like this. This character pointer is the way we identify strings, because all strings are pointers to characters. Because if you say, let's say we assign maybe car asterisk, then name equals this guy, equals this guy, or this guy. So this is a way we can, in C, we can declare a string, or you use the other method which we all know, using arrays. Arrays are combination of characters or contiguous memory locations. So we can use this format, or we can use this format. But one thing I would have loved to try is, what if we use array? I've never tried this, but I don't know if it will work. But most times array, okay, it's actually complaining. Arrays have size, so let's just give it size 30. Okay, let me comment this guy. So let me see. Okay, that means our v underscore arg doesn't take, because it's actually complaining here. Okay, lf, let me change this to s. Let me try this and see if it will work. I should have used a character pointer, but I want to use, it's actually complaining, but let me compile. I love trying things. Wow, no complaints. Okay. It gave us a gibberish value. So that means we cannot use the array format to actually declare a list. So we have to use a character pointer for v underscore arg to actually access the element. Now, you said something about knowing the number of arguments in our list. We're actually going there with this our loop. So when we get to this loop, I believe the question will be answered. So basically what I just demonstrated here is how we can access elements of our, okay, let me use my character pointer. How we can access elements of our list using our va underscore arg. What do we call it again? We call it a macro. Okay, so it actually printed that out to the console. So you can play around with this and try to, play around with strings, which should be represented as character pointers, with ints, which should be represented as int as well, characters which should be typecasted to int, then floats which should be promoted to doubles. So now we said, let me take out this guy and let's continue our for loop. So we're saying we want this program.
Sorry.
Yes.
Hello.
Go on, please.
Yes, when you were explaining the declaration of the function itself, you said the argument must be 2. But here you are inside the sum. The argument is just 1.
I didn't say it must be 2. I said it must be at least 1. Where did I put it? Where did I say 2?
Okay.
Before we used 2. I told you that both of them were actually useless in our program. So that's why I limited it to 1. 1 must be there before this our ellipse.
Okay.
It must be at least 1. It can be more than 1. The compulsory arguments can be more than 1. But it must be at least 1. Yep.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So I said I want us to make this A work. So in fact, let me change this A and say, let me call it count to make it even more readable for an audience. So let me name it count. So this count is the number of numbers it will count here, and we're going to add them together. So what am I going to change again? This one is correct. This one is correct. Count is here. Okay, I'm changing this one to count to make it even more readable. Oh my god. Okay. So yes, sum is equal to sum plus our VA hag int. So as usual, we already know how VA underscore hag works. Each time it is called, it is going to come access. Oh, what did I do here? It's going to come and access the first element of our ellipse or our list, whatever language you use. So here, sum, which is already initialized with 0, is going to be 0 plus what? This guy. This is an int. So what's the first guy here? 2. 0 plus 2. Then 0 plus 3, 0 plus 4, like that. So let me actually print sum here. And let us run this program. Please, once again, is there anyone who came early? I'm not saying who came late, too. Who came early when we started this periodic functions and it's kind of very blank and lost with everything we've been doing since? Is there anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, that's for
I am
you.
not.
That's for you. Please, if you know you came early, I'm not saying if you are late, you can always watch the recordings. But if you came early to this class and you are still very, very, very lost with what we are doing, like it looks gibberish, please don't be shy to just, call us back and let us explain what you might be having issues with. Please, I want us that after this PLD, you can go to the intranet and solve all the questions there. Because part of what we are doing here are actually the tasks, but it's just that I'm not opening the intranet like right now. We're actually doing the tasks that are there. We are going to do, I think, 3 of them. There are 4 tasks altogether. We're going to do 3 of them in this PLD, but the last one will be your assignments. You figure that out. So,
Mr. Sam.
Okay, sir.
Sorry,
Sir,
sir.
okay.
Come
Okay.
again. I didn't get that.
I said the sum, will it start from 1, from the very first one, or because then you start from the second one?
Sum is starting from sum itself is 0, but our VA arg is starting from
The
any
second
element
one.
after this count. What is count? Count is 1, so it is starting from here.
So that first one will not be added.
This 1 is a compulsory argument. It's not part of our list. So VA underscore arg cannot access 1. When we
So
printed,
there's
there's no way we can access 1 with VA underscore arg. I think I earlier demonstrated. Let us just print V underscore arg. You will see that. Let us just print it normally. It's never going to print 1 ever.
Yes, we've done it before.
You agree with that, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't need to do that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, please go ahead and do it. Please.
Grand, do it.
Please go ahead and do it.
Okay. So let's just call V underscore arg. Then I pass the name of our list. Then I also pass the data type, which is an int. Then I close it. Of course, if I run this program, I'm going to run into some kind of whatever. So let me just come and comment this one because I've already called V underscore arg here, and I told us it's a ticking time bomb. Don't call it anyhow. So now I'm calling it just once and I'm printing whatever value that is here. Please help us unmute mute your mic, please. Whatever value that is there. So I'm expecting it to print the first element of our list, which is 2. This is here. 1 is not part of our list. This count is 1. It's a compulsory argument. Our list actually starts from this, our variable argument or our ellipse. So VA arg can never access what is before this one. Why? Because we said our VA start should start after count. What this means that whatever we pass here, our list is going to start after it. And I told us that if we have more than one compulsory argument, I think I didn't demonstrate that. So yeah, let me just add int b. Let me just put this there. I have to come and change this one to b. If I still put count, which is this first one, I'm telling you that my list is starting from b, whereas b is a compulsory argument. It is not the last element before the ellipse. Therefore, I should get errors. But let me just try that for you, for us, so we see. So are we on the right track? This is correct. This is correct. Then yeah, VA start should even throw an error set before running this program. Why is it not running it? It should actually run it. But let us run it anyway. Okay, can you see? Warning. Second parameter of VA start, not last named argument. VA start, the second parameter of our list must be here and indicated count. The law is for VA start is that whatever must be after the list name must be the last parameter before the ellipse. So these things can be quite tricky, but you just need to understand the rule. If you know the rule, we are good to go with anything variadic functions. Or maybe I should type these stuffs out. So you can always reference as we are going with our program. So VA list, please permit me. Let me write it declares a new list. And what does it take? Takes the list name, that is, so you only pass the list name to it. That's all. That's for VA.
Sorry,
Yes.
is there a case where they can ask us to add from the very first one?
Which first one? What do you
Grab
mean?
from that one.
Is one our
I said, is
okay? I think I understand what they are saying. That we should make one part of this thing.
yeah. Is there a case they can ask us to do that?
No program will actually ask you to add this one, because this one, the function of
Oh,
this one, let me even change it to 5. Let me change it to 5. You will see what this 5 does. Wait, let me run this program first, our for loop. So you actually see the reason why we are writing this for loop, because it's like we've wasted much time on this for loop alone. Let me run it. So we said for I equals to 0, I less than count. This count is telling us how many numbers we want to add. So what's our count here? Our count is what? 5. So we're expecting this program to add this plus this. It should just add 5 of this. It should only take 5 of this number. The other ones, discard them. That's what we are telling this guy. So let us run this guy. And okay. VA start. Okay, yes. I should delete this actually. I should delete this because we don't need it. Okay, let me go up there and delete it as well. Okay, it's not needed. Okay, I think we are good to go now. So I will run that. Okay, it printed 20. So let's count. What's the count? Oh, sorry. Our count is what? 5. So we told it to add 5 numbers. So 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. 6 plus 4 is 10. So that is 10 plus 10. Yeah, it's correct. It's 20. Now we can still.
Sorry, please, where did we initialize our count as 5?
Our count is here. Oh. See, this is count. Where's my. Okay, this is the function. What did we pass? We call the function here, and we set count to be what? To be 5. Therefore, it's going to add 5
where
numbers.
do where is the count?
Where is the what?
The count set as 5.
Why did we set it as 5?
Where is it set as
This
5?
is it here. When we call the function, we set it as 5.
Oh, okay. The first one is always where we set the number.
Yeah,
Oh,
it,
okay, okay,
it will
okay.
not always be, but the way I wrote this function, my own function, I set it that way. We are still going to
Okay,
rewrite
I
this
get.
function to be more user, it should be more interactive. So I'm still doing some kind of hard coding here. So if I decide to change this to 2, that means it's going to add just two numbers according to my for loop. So let me just run it again. See, it's gave me 5. What is 5? The first two guys in my list, 2 plus 3. So as much as I change this, I keep changing this, then my sum is going
Okay,
to,
because of your loop. Okay, yeah, because of
yes.
the
And
condition
Yes.
why was I able
right
to access
that
the
I
element?
less than half.
Exactly. It was because of this VA that is why I was able to access the elements in the list. How many do I want to add? I'll just come and indicate here. If I want to add, how many elements are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I want to add everything, so I'll just pass 8 here. Please add 8 numbers. I run my loop again. 44. We didn't know if that's, I should be correct actually, but let's just confirm. Okay. Oh boy, this thing is too big. So let me close my, okay. Oh, so I'm adding 2. This 8 is telling me how many numbers I want to add, so I'm not adding 8. 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 equals 44. So it's actually correct. Equals 44. So that's the guy there.
And you made it less than 5, not less than or equal to 5. So why
Yes,
is it up to 5?
because I started from 0.
Oh,
I didn't start from 1.
okay, okay, okay,
So
okay,
if
okay.
you
Thank
count
you.
0, 1, 2, if you count it like that from 0 to, since this count is 8, so count from 0 to 7. That's 8 iterations. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 loops. Iterations, repetitive uh, executions. If I had put 1 here, then I would have set it to less than or equal to count. It will still be the same thing. But because I started from 0, so I have to make it uh, less than, strictly less than. If I make it less than is equal to, and I started from 0, that means it's going to actually go out of my list. And trust me, what will happen if I decide to add more numbers than I actually have in my list? You should actually add some nonsense. Okay, let me just put 100 here and see what will happen, sha. Let's just put 100, add 100 numbers. Why we didn't actually give it 100 numbers? But trust me, to pick some garbage, oh, segmentation fault. Okay, that's my compiler for you. So let me put 9. There are actually 8 elements, but let me put 9. It's still printing 44. Let me put 10. V underscore hag is giving me 44 numbers. Oh, you can see it has gotten one random garbage value from somewhere and just added it to my list. So this segmentation fault error is we accessing a part of memory that is not assigned to us. Okay, so but please be careful, don't add more than what you actually have in your list. That is bad. That's a bad practice. Don't try it. So now I believe we all understood how this for loop ran. Do we have anyone who is still confused before we move on to what we want to do next?
Yeah, hello. Please, in the beginning of what we were talking about, you said the situation where you don't know how many values the user wants to or that is supplying.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So that there's no way. Is there a way we can, by what we did now? We were adding, we were putting the number of figures we want to add together at the first, at the initial. That's at our count.
Yes.
Do you understand? Our
Yes.
user will not do that. Abi?
Okay. I think like here our user will not come here and come and put it there.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. So how do we,
Get it from our user.
using, yes.
Now, let me ask you, as a programmer, what do you think we should do? Since we know count is always count. Now, what do you think we can do to get this count from our user?
Let me think it through.
We can use scan F now.
Thank you. Let's try that. Okay, please put me
Then
through.
we store it in a variable.
Put me through, please.
Store declare a variable.
Okay. No, it's actually declared. Count is declared now.
Okay, we can say,
Uh,
okay, we can do it like
we
this. I have an idea.
can't.
Okay.
Hello, I have an idea.
Okay.
Can we put, can we initiate another variable and
Okay.
put it into count?
And put it into count. How?
Um, let's say enter. We can say print f, enter number of, I mean,
How many numbers
enter.
do you want to add? Okay.
Yes, exactly. How many numbers you want to have, or do you want to have?
So, okay.
Then we now scan f into count.
Exactly. That's the only
Yes,
thing we
we
can
now
do.
scan f into count.
You know, I told you as a programmer, you're the one that will figure out how you can get it from the user. It's your job.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're the one that will know how you will do that one. So there are 1001 ways to do this, but we might know one way or two ways or three ways or four ways. But as programmers, it's our job to get how we are going to make our program more user interactive. So now we're actually getting a value from our user. So now let us run our program the way it just is it correct like this?
That ampersand there.
Yes. This one.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I should remove it.
No, I'm asking why is it there? I don't know.
Okay, okay. The way scanf is designed, scanf is storing a variable. It's going to get it's going to get an input from a user, and it's going to store the variable here. We cannot pass count here. Scanf must always get an address. That is why it's unlike printf that can print something like this. Printf doesn't need to get an address, but scanf must always get the address so that it can store the variable at that address. You cannot just store a variable anyhow. You must store it at a particular location, at a particular address. That is why we are passing an address to it. That means whatever value the user enters, whether 1 or 2, is going to go and find the address of count. Wherever count is in our program, this scanf is going to look for it and go and put this value at that address. So if we print count, count is going to give us this %d, the value there. So that is the way our scanf is designed. It will always get an address of variable. Address
Thank you.
variable, sha. Yep. So yeah, let's run. Good. How many numbers do you want to add? What should we put?
5.
5, okay. 20. Is that correct? Yes. 2, 3, 4, 5. So
Yes.
our program is now more user friendly.
Yeah.
Please, I have a question.
Okay.
From what I'm seeing now, does it mean that the count, um, like the count there, the only function of the count there is to store how many numbers the list is going to be adding?
Exactly. That is it.
So if they were to be, let me say, if the count was, okay, let me say, where we're using int A and int B, okay, what would
Okay.
be the function of int A? Presumably that int B was the count.
Okay. Like if we have two compulsory parameters here.
Yes. And let's presume that B is the count, being that B is the
Yes,
one to store our, our list. You understand my point?
we can do
So
that.
now,
Yes.
okay, let's see.
Let me write A here and let me change this one to count. We can do that. But of course, our list is not going to start from here again. Automatically, it's going to start from here. Do you agree?
Yes, it's going to start from five. Okay, three full. Yes, it's
Exactly.
going to
This will
start
be
from
the
three.
first element in our list. So let me come here and change. We
Mhm.
can do it that way. But looking at this function, and that means A is practically useless. But don't worry. It
So
depends on
that means A is going to be useless entirely.
entirely, exactly. It depends on how you want to write your program. It's your choice. It's your choice. You can write your program, and if you wait, okay, okay, you can, yes, it depends on you. Depends on how you want to write your program. So yeah, we are going to change our VA stats. Okay, count. Okay, yeah, this count. Okay, yes. So this one will still work, but of course it's going to start the addition from here, not from 2. So let us start, and let us, how many numbers? Let's just say add 3 numbers together. 12. So 3, 4 plus 5, that's 12, right? 5 plus 3, 9 plus 4, 12. Yes. 5 plus 3, 8. 8 plus 4, 12. So you see the function still worked, but of course it has shifted our list to the what? To the right. So if I declare another compulsory parameter here, that is how our list will keep shifting and shifting and shifting until, unless we keep adding more and more to more and more parameters to our list. But one thing, while I was preparing for this class, I tried to do, and I have to tell you guys, which I actually didn't know and I didn't get, despite doing research and all. Maybe someone can take this up, it's a challenge, and try to see if it is possible for these numbers here, we should get it from the user instead of we telling the users pre uh, assign numbers to it. It's just like you having a calculator.
I was just having that line of thoughts now as you were
Uh-huh.
talking.
It's just like you having a calculator and someone is telling you this calculator can add numbers. Okay, and the person should ask how many numbers do you want to add. You are saying 3, and it's just adding any random 3 numbers. It's not telling you enter the numbers you want to add, and it's just adding any 3 random numbers. It's kind of very, how will I put it? It can be kind of stupid. And but after all my research that I did while preparing for this class, I came to a final conclusion that variadic functions in C, they are limited in their use. So I can safely assume that this is one of the limitations of variadic function. I checked through all the tasks and
Excuse me, sorry, please.
okay.
I had the contribution. Okay. I think what if you try to assign the variable list as an array, then you scan F for the value of variable list.
If I actually did that, but that means we are now
Yeah.
using arrays, we are no longer using lists. It won't, it will work that way, but it means you are using arrays to get the values. You are not using lists. I did that
No.
somewhere in my program. I have done that as well.
No. All right.
Arrays are different from lists.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But what
Understand.
I just said, we can get them using arrays. You can tell how many numbers you want to add, enter the numbers you want to add. We can use arrays, 1D array, 2D arrays, or whatever we like. We can use them to get that one. That one can work in our normal program. But the point I want to make is that variadic functions in C, they are limited. They have limits to what they can do. So if someone can find it out, fine, I will remove this assumption. But for now, I strongly believe variadic functions are limited so much that they cannot ask you the numbers you want to add. They have to be predefined. The only thing it can ask you is how many numbers do you want to add, and it can print numbers, it can print whatever using our va underscore add. Now I want us to do something. We just wrote a program and I love the way it is. It's user friendly. Now do you see that while we enter the value of count here, it actually, it means it's changed the value here. We passed the value 7 here, but here we change it to 5, and the value changed to 5. It means this value can be changed. These are our compulsory parameters. They can be changed depending
Yeah,
on
yeah.
how your program is structured. You can override it depending on how you want it to be. What I want us to do now is that I want us to write a program that will this program now is just giving us the sum. It will print out the numbers we added, and at the same time it will give us the sum. Is it possible? Someone should help us look at this. Is it possible for us to write a function, this particular function? Wait, I should change this to, let me change this to count. This particular function here, of course we are still going to use a for loop. Now if I want all these numbers, like this count is what, if it is 4, print the first 4 numbers for me. How will I get the first 4 numbers that I want to add? What am I going to use to get them?
Using Variadic, are we?
You can print the VA using for inside for loop. You print.
I print, thank you. So how do I do that, sir?
I think
So
before
for
before
you,
that sum, before
Okay,
that sum in your curly bracket,
okay,
just print.
I should print
Yeah, print the
VAG.
VAG, okay. So we use our percent %d as usual. Then we pass here and we pass
yeah,
our VAG, right?
yes,
Then the list name, then the data type. Then I
yes,
close my. Are you
bracket.
sure this will work? Or we try it? Let me format my code. Oh, okay. I have a question. Are you sure this will work?
Let's try.
Okay,
Let's try and see.
let me put something here. Uh, as always, let me put ticking time bomb in all caps.
Ticking time bomb.
Okay, so let's go. Let's go. We move. Uh, okay, how many? Okay, sorry. How many numbers? Let's add 3 numbers. So let's come here and see 3. Wow. 3 numbers should be what? 2 plus 3 plus 4. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In fact, where is 9? 9 is not even printed on the console. So what could possibly be wrong? Look at what it's printed. 246. Okay, you know what? Let me space it here so we actually know the difference between. So let me add a new line in front of. Okay, let me just do it this way.
Yeah.
So we know the difference between this printf. Okay, no, this sum. Let me print this sum on a new line. Let me add a new line before my printing. Oh, like this, yes. Print a new line, then print sum, then another new line. So let's run the program again to make it more readable. So as usual, 3 numbers. Good. That means this one is for our loop. This one is for our sum. So we can differentiate now. So can someone explain what actually happened? Check. True.
I think it was keeping. It was keeping. If you check the numbers in the bracket in that sum, we had 2, 3. Then it skipped 3, went to 4.
Okay.
Skipped 5, went to 6.
So why?
So maybe. What could have happened? I think okay, the
And the
addition,
sum
the
is not
I.
even correct.
We added.
Are you seeing
We're
what I'm
adding
highlighting?
I plus plus. Okay.
Are you seeing what I'm highlighting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think is it because we were incrementing inside the loop?
No, it's not our increment. The other time, I said when we call VA underscore ag, any time in our program, it will automatically access the elements in our list in that order, from the first one to the second one, and so on and so forth. Now, the question is, how does this loop run? So let us analyze it one by one. For I equals to 0, okay, I less than what's our count here, which is 3. So is I less than 3? Yes. Print what? VA ag. What is VA ag? Print what? 2. That is why 2 is printed here. What is the next statement? Come and sum. This sum, we are not printing sum. But of course, we did what? We called VA ag. So where will our VA ag point to? 3. Because we did what? We called it, even though we didn't
Yeah.
print it. So it is now pointing at the second element. Now the control will
So
go to our condition again. The control will now come and increment, sorry. So I becomes from 0 it will become 1. So it's 1 less than count? Yes. It will come here and do what? Print VAG. VAG will now point where now? 4.
4.
This
Sure.
sum we are not printing, but it will call it. It will point where? 5.
To the next one,
It
5.
will point to 5. Again, we are going to increment. I will become 2. Is 2 less than count, which is 3? 2 is less than 3, yes. Come here and do what? And print. What is it going to print? The next one is going to point here.
6.
So it's printed 6. We called sum, we called VAG, sorry. VAG is going to point where? 7.
7.
So outside this loop now, if I print, if I call VAG again, it's going to point to this guy, because at this stage now it is pointing to 7, but we did not store it anywhere, so we cannot even access, we cannot print the 7 outside, but we have called it, we just called it that way. But of course we didn't print it, we didn't store it anywhere, so there's no way we could know that we have already called it up to 7. But if I call it again, I'm expecting it to print 8. Like if I print it and I call it at the same time, if I call it inside a printf function, I'm expecting it to print 8. So you can see that this program that we wrote, we called our VAG unnecessarily, and that is why our program gave us some kind of, and in fact our sum is not correct. Now printf sum. So what is sum?
The sum is actually correct, because at the first time that we called the sum is equal to sum plus va ag add, it
Okay.
took in it took in 3 as our sum. It added 3 plus 0, which gave us 3 as our sum. Then the
Wait.
second
What
time
is
we
our
called the
first?
v,
How many elements are we adding?
we are adding 3 elements.
Is 3 the first element in our
No,
list?
but the
So
first printf, the first printf,
uh,
it takes the first va ag, which is 2.
which one should take the first VAG? Is it printf or sum?
The printf takes the first va ag.
I agree, but I'm asking which one, according to what we want to write, should actually take the first VAG?
It's supposed to be the sum.
It's supposed to be
So
the sum.
so
Yeah, but what I'm just trying to say is that the current sum is correct, but it's the way we wrote our code that's
program.
not giving us
Yes,
the
yes, I agree with
expected
you.
outcome.
I agree with you. Our sum
Yes,
added
yes.
3 plus 5
5 and
plus
7.
maybe 7. Yes, the sum
Yes.
is correct, but of course it wasn't doing what we wanted it to do.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think I got the message you are trying to pass across now. So that means, once again, we have to be very careful of our VA underscore ag. We shouldn't just call it. So now, the thing is this. We must only call our VA underscore ag once in our loop. If you don't want it to start accessing what it is not supposed to access. That means if we want this loop to run 3 times, that means VA underscore ag must be called only 3 times. Which begs the question, how can we do that? Because we've seen now VA underscore ag was called 6 times. Our loop ran 3 times, but it was actually called 6 times, which was why it just did whatever it likes. So now how can we make it call it only 3 times and we still print, and at the same time we will sum the numbers we are calling? So this is a question. This is 11:16. I'm giving us 2 minutes to try to rub minds together and see if we can come up with something.
To call to the so that it won't leave the limit of
3
calling it 3.
3 times or 4 times, or whatever the user declares as our count. You should follow it strictly. So this means VA underscore ag must only be called once in our curly braces. Only once, not twice like we have it here. But
And maybe you can call it outside the brace.
Okay. How? How? How?
after the loop.
Which one am I going to remove?
I'm still looking at it.
Okay. You're actually correct. And you're actually wrong.
Okay. Okay, we want the sum. Do we want the sum after the listing or the sum before the
Sure, we are
listing?
not printing some inside the loop. Oh, see, some is outside already. It's already outside.
Okay. Let's delete the sum plus. No, 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 no. Let's remove printf. This printf v arg. Let's take it out of the loop.
Okay. Print F
Let's take it outside the loop.
like this.
Yes.
Okay. So print F, how many? Okay, no.
Now,
But print F is going to run only once. We want the numbers to be printed though. All the three numbers or four numbers.
let's now repeat that printf to 3 times since it's outside the loop now.
Okay, I think I get you. But it's still going to be the same thing actually. We are calling, that means we are still calling VAG 6 times.
But okay, but we're not calling. Let's see if it will work.
I'm still expecting the same output. Let's say 3. Oh, a different output this time around. But still not what we expected.
Yeah, it's not what we expected. I
But
think
it listed the the numbers.
yeah, I think here
Yes,
now
it
we
will
won't be
list the
able
first
to
three numbers.
we won't be able to use the VARG to in our printf statement. Maybe there's another way we can print the numbers, but without calling the VARG. Because I think the most important thing we need the VARG for now is the sum, not the
Okay,
printf.
I have an idea. Can we put the just like we did? Can we scan f the values? No,
Okay,
no, no, no.
just for our time,
Yes, the printf values, right?
just to save
Yes.
our time,
Yeah.
let me actually do that. And my battery is really going down right now. A way we can do this is we have to declare a variable to store
Okay.
our this
Yeah.
list. We declare a variable to store our list. So let me just declare a variable outside this guy. Let me say int. Okay, no, let me come and declare it up here. This is I. Let me declare j here and sum. So I will now come inside my program. I will come inside my program and I will now say j.
Initialize the.
I will now initialize it with whatever is this guy, VAG. So it is the
Okay.
j.
That will now print.
J is equal to VAG. Oh my god, my phone is about shutting down. Okay, I will now under VA underscore ag, then
Add.
my hard, then my int. Now j in itself is now VAG blah blah blah. So I can now say, oh sorry. So yeah, I can now print j. Of course, we know j is going to always give me so I can print j. Here, I told us we can only declare underscore v underscore arg once in our loop. Instead of me putting v underscore arg here in my sum, I will just put my j.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we just solved that problem. So let me put a new
Yeah.
line. Okay, no, let me put a space here. Then sum. Then at the end of the day, if we print sum should still give us, since j itself is calling va underscore arg, but it is actually not calling it. Don't let me use that language. J is not calling it. J is storing it. There's a difference between storing and calling. So instead of me writing v underscore arg and writing it in my printf and writing it in my sum, I have eliminated that problem that my va underscore arg doesn't want. It doesn't want me to because it's a what according to what I believe, it's a ticking time bomb. So now let us quickly run this and see if it's actually correct. How many numbers? Once again, let's say 3. So it's printed 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 4 plus 3, 7 plus 2, 9. I think it did what we wanted it to do.
Yeah, it was one.
My brothers and sisters, I'm happy to announce that this task we just solved is one of the tasks on the internet. It's actually splitted. They split it actually. To the first task is that write a number that sums, that calculates sum. They now told us again to write another function that prints. But we, because we want to do our things, we combine the two into one
One for
function. So on our intranet actually, we weren't asked to go as hard as this and think so deep like this. So once again, there are various ways to go about this and write functions. So let me quickly explain what this guy is actually doing here. This is our for loop. So we said for I is equal to 0, I is less than 3, I plus plus. Is I less than 3? Yes. So come here, initialize j to be what? Varg this. So what is our Varg int? Is our first element here, which is the 2. So print 2. 2 is printed here. Then sum is equal to sum plus 2. That's 0 plus 2 because sum is already 0 here according to our initialization here. So sum is what? 0 plus 2. So okay, we are not printing, we are still inside the loop. So I plus plus, our I becomes what? 1. Is 1 less than 3? Yes. Then j, we are initializing j again. J is what? The second element, which is what? 3. Print what? Print j, print 3. We are printing 3. Sum is equal to what? Sum, which is 2, is equal to what? 2 plus 3 this time around. So that means 2 plus 3, that's 5, will be given to this sum. So our sum here is what? Is 5, but we are not printing it, so it's still staying. Once again, I plus plus, our I becomes 2. Is 2 less than 3? Yes. So let j become anything when we call varg, which is what? Which is 4. So print j, which is 4. We are printing j, that's 4. Now sum is equal to what? Sum is already 5. So 5 is equal to 5 plus 4. So 5 plus 4, 9. 9 will be given to what? To sum. I is what? 3. Is 3 less than 3? No. Please go out of the loop. Print what? Print my sum. My sum is what? 5 plus 4, which is what? 9. That is why my 9 is showing here. And my 4, which is the last element, is showing here. Do we
yeah.
get
I have a question.
the logic? Okay, go on.
Okay, you are actually missing something from this variable function syntax. There's
Okay.
what we call end.
Var end. Oh, yes.
Yeah, what
Thank
does
you.
it do?
It ends our list. I didn't add that. So var end,
Does it mean that it will not code?
we pass the list name inside it, just like we said in our slide. Or is this a slide or our Jamboard? So va end, it will take our list name. So we pass that in its. So we use that to end our list. Now we can call another list after this guy. But if I do not end it, I don't think you can call a list inside a list, because inside there, if I write another VA list, I don't know actually. I've never tried that, but anyone can try that. But I believe you should always end a list before you call another list. But can we have nested lists? I doubt. So basically, we've been able to see we can write a variadic function
Sorry.
that adds. Okay.
Does it mean that without the var in our code is still wrong?
It's well, it actually was compiling, but it's usually required to end it. The reason is because you might want to call another list, and if you do not end it, if you do not end this list, you might actually get errors, possibly. But you must always end whatever you start. It's just like when you have your malloc, you allocate memory, you have to free the memory. So they go hand in hand. The same thing with your VA start, you have to also VA end it. I actually forgot that, but it's very, very important. So we have been able to see the macros we use, starting from our VA list, then to our VA start, then to our VA underscore ag, which I call a ticking time bomb we need to be very, very, very careful of, and our VA
Let me
underscore
just
ag.
add let me just add something to the VA end. Just like you mentioned, I don't know if you guys were listening. You mentioned something about malloc and free. When you assign memory to something, after using it, you need to free it because you are no more using it anymore. So this is a list. It's actually occupying some kind of space. So you need to free it. And the way you are freeing the list is with this VA hack, something like that. So you are no more using the list. You are done with your program. So just clean up the list so that it won't be taking it won't be chopping memory storage. That's just the essence of it.
Okay. So the last thing I prepared for this class, which I wouldn't know if my battery will be able to take me, but please let me just speed up a bit. I want us to do something. When we print these numbers, instead of we printing space in between them, we should print maybe comma. You get? We should just use it to separate them instead of we using space here. Here my print f, I said you should print the j, which is the in this case is the arguments. I said arguments, our list. Now I was using a space. Can we use something, maybe a comma? I don't want to pass it here, like, how will I put this? I don't want to put a comma here. I want us to declare a, what will I call it again? Mandatory function here. Let's call it int. No, can it be an int? Let's call it a character, comma. Okay, this is how I'll write it. Let me come here and see. So this will be a car. Okay. So, okay. So this is a comma. So here, inside my loop, I can now initialize it. I can initialize it outside, but equals what? So let me say comma. Then I close my this thing. So here, while printing, after printing the number, that is j, I'll just print a comma after it. So I should actually have my comma here. So that's what %d. No, %c, because comma is a character. I don't know if someone is following. Then here I specify and put comma. In fact, I don't need to reinitialize comma self. There's no point putting it inside the loop. It's actually useless. There's no point. Just declare it outside. Comma is still going to be printed anyways. Okay, so let us try this and see if we are not actually, if we are still correct. Okay, ellipses can't match an empty parameter declaration. Let me see. Okay, the first thing I did here, comma should be my last element in my VA stats, which I didn't even do. And again, it even threw some other errors, but let me change this and see if it will work. Okay, yeah, I didn't put my comma. That's another error. What else? Okay, let me go on again and try if it will still work. Okay, so those were the two errors. How many? Let's pick 3 again. So now it's printed 3, 4, 5. Okay, now this is something I don't even want. Why should this comma be here? But of course, this thing is just to show what compulsory parameters can do. I'm just trying to show us what compulsory parameters can do. Someone was asking the other time, is it only int a and int b? Like, can we make our list start from int b while int a will be useless? So if you really want, please can you mute your mic? If you really want to do some crazy stuffs in your list, then you need as much as possible compulsory parameters. Now I declared comma and see what comma is doing in my list. If I still want to do some other things, I can't think of anything right now, but if I still want to do some other things to this guy, I can come here and declare. Although your printf can actually do this stuff, instead of me declaring comma, my printf can print this comma. but I don't want to do it that way. ALS will not tell you to do it that way. They will tell you to come and declare uh, something that will be a separator. In fact, they can call it a separator. Sir. Let's call it a separator, not a comma. So basically, you can do and undo with your list. Okay, so it's still the same thing. So let's pass more than first using this function, comma. Did I not remove it? Wait to which line is that one? Line 34. Line 34, line 34, line 34. Okay. Print J, okay, print F J separator. Okay. How many numbers? This time around, let's just say 5. So the list it starts from this guy now. So these first two guys are actually compulsory parameters, which in the recent have redefined them. They are no longer 7 and 2. They are now count and comma, but they are just here, as dummy values. Then again, you can still do some other things, because you can have a situation where they will tell you to, oh my god, to write a function that if you use an if condition inside your loop when you want to print, for instance, now I ask, how many numbers do you want to add? What if the person enters 0? Let us see what will happen. What will happen? How many numbers do you want to add? 0. Okay, it it's printed 0. This is a big bug. Oh my god, this is a big bug. There's no 0 on the list, so why are you giving me 0?
No, it's not zero. It did not actually print zero. It returned the sum for you because the sum was initialized to zero.
Oh. Yeah, that's true. So let us write it in such a way that if the person enters 0, the program should stop, or it should just print some stuff that bro, come on, how can you add 0, something like that. So maybe this will be the last thing I will do before I end this call. So let's come and add a conditional statement here.
Sorry, before you print, that last comma, can it be removed? The last comma,
Comma.
the last
Okay,
number, the comma at the.
I believe everything is possible, but I'm not
Take
thinking
that
of
as a
it.
challenge for yourself. Try
Let,
removing the last comma.
this is a
Try
challenge
not
for me.
print comma at the last value.
Okay, that means I will have to actually print this guy outside the loop. That's what I can think of right now. That means, let us try. I didn't try this, but let me see. So print, that means I will call this my j underscore hag, but my count will affect my looping. Since I'm calling it 4 times, it will affect my looping. So I want to print only 3. I want to print only 2 values in my loop. Wait, there should be a condition to stop this.
Can't you separate separator from J? That's our print F.
No, separator will always be
Print F.
added because it's in our loop. Unless,
What I mean is that instead of having them inside one bracket, both percentage D and percentage C, can't we
okay,
have another print F that will just print F percentage C, then we have separator as our variable or where it's picking it from. You get
okay, each of them should have their own print f's.
exactly that's what I'm saying.
Okay, let's try that. Let's try that. Let's try that. Um, but it's still inside a loop, I believe. But there is a way. There will be a way. I believe there are always
I've,
ways.
I've actually thought of a way, but I want you guys to challenge yourself.
Print f d.
I,
I believe we
is
are
Then
going to
before,
use.
very simple
then
until
before,
until
sorry, I wanted to add, after the first printf, can we add a conditional statement
Yes,
before
that
the
should be.
second
It will be a
printf?
conditional statement we are going to use.
Yeah, before the printf.
But let
When
me
we
run
that's
use
what.
this first and foremost, and let's see if we are not going to get errors. Let's say 3, 4, 5. Good. Now it's still giving us the same output.
yeah,
If okay, yes, we can add a
so okay,
yeah, Abby.
the conditional statement, yes, yes,
I think I'm flowing. If uh J, we can use J as our terminating condition, equals, let's say, count minus 1. That will be the last one.
yeah, yes,
You should not print. Wait, if J equals count minus 1,
or maybe not equal to.
equals, else now print. Ah, omo. We are going far, we are going far. If J not equals to this, else, wait, let me come and
Mhm.
put my else condition.
Um. Okay.
Yeah, we are going too far, Abi. Like, we are making hard things harder.
There's actually a
A
simpler way
simpler
to
way.
go about
But
this.
let's see if this one will work. If J equals not equals to count
You
minus 1,
have the idea, but go on, go on, go on.
we don't know if this will work yet, but let's try. Mm, I don't know. Let us run this first to see, because I can't try to be going through my for loop and trying to see three numbers.
It's still going to print the comma. Okay, do you know what? Undo the thing where you have
If J,
the J and separator together. Just undo to where you have the J and separator together.
okay,
Just Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. Keep pressing Ctrl Z until where you until you get to where you have the J and separator together.
like this.
Yeah. Uh okay, you're having some spaces there. Okay, so what you will do is now you are printing the number followed by what is separator. Now when it gets to the last value, you just want to print the number. So you are going to set an if condition after this initialization of J. That's what
Okay,
if I is equal to count minus 1,
then it should print only J.
we should print only J.
Okay, else,
No, on top, on top, on
else it
top,
should print
on top. Yeah. There's no need
if,
for else, just put it here. If I is equal to count minus 1,
okay, I think this condition will also work to just print this guy
should print just J. Copy everything here
without
and just remove the separator.
without
Yeah.
this guy.
Remove the yeah.
Yes, this condition should work. This condition to work. Okay, yep. So we are printing only J.
I think this should be the stuff.
3. Okay,
Okay.
it's printing. Um, it's printed 5 twice.
That printf is not needed. The second
Is
one,
there no S?
the second printf,
Okay, wait, let me see. How many numbers did it add actually? It added, where's our list? Sorry, let me see. It added 3, 4, 5, 5. 3 plus 4, 9. 9 plus 5.
It added the first three.
9 plus 5, 12, right? Okay, but it actually printed 1 twice. So we still
I'm
have to
coming.
find a way around this. So let's see. It printed this. It printed this first. Our loop will print this. Is it high that should be equal to count minus 1? The last,
Try
if I equals count minus 1. Let us put
why?
else condition here. Else, do that. But it's almost still the same actually. It's almost still the same.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, it worked
Is that
fine.
else?
Yeah,
I
this
think,
Is it
works.
else?
hold on first.
Or maybe we didn't wrap it.
Use is because I think it should this other printer should automatically be the else of this. Try to indent your code properly or something.
Better still, let me wrap it.
There's no need, there's no need. Don't worry. If this okay, you need an else. You need an else. You definitely need an else.
To show that if this, okay, yes, else is
So any
okay.
other condition that doesn't
You
satisfy
find
this, you
that it will
just
not
print.
this. Okay,
Yeah, you should just print this.
at this stage, I will have to go off. So basically, what have we learned today as a way of summary? We have been able to learn about variadic functions and we have been able to
You
see.
not do stuff again.
You said,
Zero parts that if a user should put
Is
zero.
of course, you know
is
it will be a
battery
conditional.
is will not
My
last.
battery is very low.
Try figuring that out. The zero still works. The zero
Okay,
is not a bug because it will just
yes.
print zero for you.
Let me
So
post
there's no need
this.
for
Let
an
me
if
post this
statement
on our
for
group.
that zero.
So you can rewrite this program. Mr. Abiodun, please help us send the feedback form so they fill it. Please help us. So guys, that's then I'm challenging all of us. Let us go. Am I saying this call? To the task on our intranet and do the last task.
Yes.
Please, that's a challenge. We've done all the tasks on the intranet except the last one. So I'm challenging you guys, all of us. Let us go and do the last task on the intranet and see if we truly learned from this class. We truly understand what variadic functions are. And oh wow, thank you very much. Let me end my recording right now
Where
before.
is the